Welcome back to the channel, everyone. And in today's video, I am going to do my first reaction on PBD himself, talking about H1B visas. I'm going to give my perspective from 42 years of life and being born and raised and working pretty much my whole career in the tech industry of the Silicon Valley, tech capital of the world, San Jose, California, Bay Area, and see whether I agree with him or not, and see if the H1B visas are actually a good thing, needed, pros, cons, etc. So let's see what he has to say. So as I said, I'm going to be doing my first ever reaction video to PBD. The title of this video is the H1B Visa Debate Broken Down, Everything You Need to Know. Now, I do watch his podcast. I love his show. I don't know everything that he stands for or speaks on. I would say for me right now, I watched him for about almost like the last 4 years, even his single videos that he did. I would say I agree between 80-85% of them, of what he says, financially, politically, etc. There are some things I don't like. Some of the stuff they were talking about with Israel, I'm not a fan of that. But other than that, I mean, I love his show. I watch it pretty much every time it's out. And even if I do miss the live in the mornings, it just starts at 8 a.m. CST. I'll pick it up at the gym or in my walk or on my free time. So enough with that. Let's get right into the video and see if we agree with him or not.
Imagine all the topics we debate. Would you have guessed that H1B visa would have been the #1 topic that would create like a civil war on the conservatives, all eating each other, dog eat dog, no way, you're doing this, you're doing that. Democrats and the establishment had an incredible Christmas. They won Christmas. They caused the division, Musk versus Trump, and it worked, and everybody fell for it. And by the way, if you're on the far right or the far left, you're not gonna like this video. I'm gonna give you a case on both sides, pro and against, and you say, no, I don't agree with you, it's totally fine. Well, let me give you some data here for you to be thinking about.
Now, that being said, that is very true. They pretty much got a nice Christmas gift. For those that know, I am neither Republican, definitely not pedo, weirdo, liberal. I do have conservative values, but I'm not a Republican. They are pretty much yin and yang. If you see, there's people not calling out certain things. They're not, coming towards reality. It's all echo chambers, in one ear, out the other. So we'll get more into that in a bit detail down the line of the video.
What percentage of billion-dollar startups in America do you think were started by an immigrant? Again, I, an immigrant, not born in America. I came here legally. I came and started a business in America that became $1 billion. What percentage of all the billion-dollar startups in America do you believe were started by an immigrant? Do you think it's 10%, 20%, 30%? What if I told you it's 55%? 55% of billion-dollar startups in America was founded by an immigrant that wasn't born here? Yes. Do you want those jobs in America? Now, some of you guys may say, let them go back to their country. Do you think other people would have started it? That's not a job. That's a business. By the way, if I ask you Fortune 500 companies, what percentage of Fortune 500 companies in America were founded by an immigrant or their child? What percentage do you think it is? Top 500 biggest companies in America. You ready? 44.8%. Do we?
That is correct. I also did look up some of these stats myself. And he's right. That's due to a tank and a decline in the American culture. The way people are being brought up, the way people are being ruled or laud, quote unquote, ruled, right, to parent and structure family. There's no more family pretty much. A shit ton of single moms, which is horrible, especially from a male perspective. Statistically, males that are brought up by single mothers are bad, or they turn out weirdos, or, they're in jail. Statistically, a lot of them go to jail. Also, there's just a big decline in the way in American culture as far as learning. The education sucks. A lot of mediocrity, right? That's celebrated, right? Participation trophies. So he is correct about that. That's why you don't really see that much Americans starting companies, at least big companies, at least. Let's continue on.
We want those jobs. Who does that benefit? Americans. Now, do we also want the abuse of H1B visa, where an Infosys had to pay $34 million, or Apple had to pay $25 million, or even Facebook or some of these companies? Of course not. The system is broken. It's got to get addressed. But I'm noticing the far right, a guy responds on Twitter and tells me, because I said, our founding fathers. He says, your founding fathers. Those are not your founding fathers. You're not from America. You're not an American. I said, as an American, what makes you think you're an American? Because you live in America? That's a very interesting community that's coming out, and they're being very vocal about.
Just to give some perspective on this, that idiot, if you were not a Native American, you pretty much are an immigrant yourself. If you want to get technical, I mean, we could go all the way back to where your DNA originated from Pangea, right? It's that stupid. For me, I was born and raised in America. I don't speak Spanish. I hate when people speak thinking I speak Spanish. I hate when they say, Hispanic, Latin, Latino. First of all, Californians hate that shit. They're going to go by Mexican. Or Chicano for the most part, especially if you're from Northern California. And I'm not either of those. I'm American, born and raised, nothing else. So I like pretty much how he touched on that. Again, he gives it perspectives from both sides. And, he comes down to the, people know what it is. Let's continue on.
About it, that they want me to go back to Iran. It's interesting. It's an interesting debate. I want to hear from both sides. But that's what's causing a lot of people on the left and the establishment to say, oh, thank you so much, Santa, for giving us the greatest gift. Take back the Xbox. Take back the big screen TV. Take back the car my husband got me. Take back all of that stuff. All I wanted was a war. And these guys who won, and they just can't get along even after they just won. Thank you, Santa, for this amazing gift. We're going to talk about H1B visas today.
So he actually called that a rift within the political party. How Trump is egotistical, where he feels that someone's getting more of the shine, or he's going to get pissed off and pretty much kick them out. And that's pretty much, I'm not going to say that's Elon's intentions, but he brings himself as, an Iron Man. That's pretty much how he is. Similar to when I was at GoPro, Nick Woodman was like Iron Man, race car driving, into tech, having the yachts, the girls, that stuff around, the big parties, Red Bull Monster parties. So that's what Elon's bringing. And it seems like another party wanted that to, cause ruckus. And it looks like it has within the party. But we'll see how far it goes. Let's continue on.
Be the most, where we ranked in the world in STEM against other countries, what the highest paying jobs in America are, yet the degrees that kids are going into, and what degrees are decreasing, which is very weird. And you have to realize this is a competition argument that everybody's making. Some want the jobs to go to Americans. Some are saying let it go to the best people. But regardless, we have to compete in math. We have to compete in engineering. We have to compete in STEM. If we're not, and we're getting psychology degrees instead of STEM degrees, the direction's going AI and technology, we're going to get our asses handed to us long term. But let's set that aside. Quotes.
And he is correct about that. Again, I talk about this all the time. The American school system is horrible. I believe it was founded by someone from Prussia, if I remember correctly. And it was designed to get a lot of workers, factory workers. I believe it was 18th century model. 18th or 19th century model. But, that's ancient. It's not going to work. You're pretty much bringing up people with shit that they're not going to, you have to do math and English all over again in college. Makes no sense. Even in high school to a degree. Now, math, I believe you need it for, like you said, for STEM, certain areas. And also you could even break down math as a universal language, whether you're going to trades or into the tech side, right? It's going to be there regardless. But there's certain, if you're going for a certain role, or a certain job or career, it shouldn't be mandatory is my point. There are certain class like history that you don't need all that stuff again. The whole EDU needs to get abolished and revamped. And like he says, the two countries that I have a lot of friends that made up 66% of my friends, Asians and Indians, Indian of India descent, they're pushing hard for their kids. As soon as they're born and able, they're in STEM classes. Let's continue on.
This is what some people said about H1B for and against. Elon said, the reason I'm in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of the H1B. Take a big step back and F yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. The number of people who are super talented engineers and super motivated in the US is far too low. Think of this like a pro sports team. If you want your team to win the championship, you need to recruit top talent wherever they may be from. That's Elon. By the way, a lot of people are like, well, this is why all he cares about is the money and cheap labor. He's not even in the top 20 of.
So look at this from a perspective of fighting within a certain, and I don't even want to get political, but unfortunately it has to with these because, and it's going to suck for people if this goes the wrong way. And I'll give you just real quick my opinion. American culture is so shot and shitty right now that we need the best and the brightest from other places. Because, perfect example, USC does not just recruit from Southern California, Northern California, Oregon, Washington, Texas, Florida, Tennessee, PA, Ohio, etc. That's pretty much what Elon's talking about. And Vivek, I agree with both of them 100%. We have to revamp our education system. We have to abolish it and do something different. And I think we both need hard skills, trades, and the tech aspect of things. And that includes all aspects of tech, AI, cybersecurity, computer systems, etc. I think there needs to be a blend of both because it does not hurt for someone to have both sets of skills. And if you have the trade skills, not only can you do side hustles for cash, no offense to the IRS lovers, but you also going to save money and benefit yourself, especially in a life or death situation. If something happens, God forbid, something happens to your car or whatever, you're going to have that mechanical knowledge to get yourself out of it. So let's continue on.
H1B visas, but let's go to Steve Bannon. Strategist, a lot of people love to hear what this guy has to say. Let me be clear. On H1B, I want zero. This whole thing about, oh, they're only geniuses, H1B visas, that's not what it's about. It's about taking American jobs and bringing over essentially what have become indentured servants at lower wages. The thing's a scam by the oligarchs in Silicon Valley to basically take jobs from American citizens, give them to what become indentured servants from foreign countries and pay them less. Simple.
Now, let me just rewind that back so you idiots like this that are in government, and you have all these, now again, some of them have good intentions, but the smart ones know that's not their place and they shouldn't be there. Meaning idiots like this are the ones that get in the way and think they know better. This guy don't know a goddamn thing about technology. He doesn't know anything that's happening in the tech industry, any of the fields, and he doesn't live in reality that actually happens. Again, born and raised in East San Jose, has seen the differences, have been in the tech industry, have been at Facebook, Apple, GoPro, Tesla, etc. He's never even set foot and doesn't even know what it takes, doesn't even know things that go on there, doesn't even know the culture of some of these cities, of the declining of the, he talks about it in one sense of liberal democratic cities, going chaotic, right? Well, no shit. And that's where most of these tech hubs are. Now, how can you say that, but yet saying that we're giving tech industry, and I got the tech industry's back on this to a degree, how are you saying that we're giving our jobs away when it's all fucking chaotic and people want to gangbang and do drugs and all this and that? So you're contradicting yourself again, idiot. So it's idiots like these that need to get out of the government or need to get out of ways to where they have no goddamn idea or clue of what they're talking about. Back to the video.
Indentured servants from foreign countries and pay them less. Simple. I've long said the current H1B system is badly broken and needs to be gutted. It shouldn't use a lot.
Just for context, I wish he was our president. I did vote for Trump, but I wish Vivek was our president. He would have got my vote 110%. Back to the video.
Lottery, it should be based on pure merit. It shouldn't tether workers to just one corporation. Same principles I favor today. American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over math Olympia champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers.
And he's right. He's 100% right. You got colleges that go all out on sports, especially college football, and baseball, wrestling, which I'm an ex-athlete. I love sports. Sports wouldn't have gave me the personality that I had today. However, that's not gonna, let's be real, 99% of the people aren't even gonna make it to that level, let alone pros, let alone make it in the pros to live that lifestyle. So he's right. Unless these tech companies or other companies that are gonna have talent are gonna need some kind of athletic skill or whatever, where else are we going to get it from? Americans have now embraced, I'd say, less than what's mediocrity, giving everyone participation trophies when they're, younger, taking away double and triple days from sports, having people earn it, at least giving a sense of teamwork and earning it. That could transition into a certain field, especially in the tech industry. Everything's collaborative. It's team efforts, teamwork. That's gone now, thanks to idiot politicians, especially in California. So just to touch on that a little bit, that's what that was for. Let's get right back into it.
That's Vivek. Now, Ron DeSantis simply said, I don't support undercutting American wages. And when it comes to Trump, I want to read two of them. One of them is from March 3rd, 2016, in his interview with Megyn Kelly, and one from today. In 2016, he said, I will end forever the use of the H1B as a cheap labor program and institute an absolute requirement to hire American workers first for every visa and immigration program, no exception. So he wants to make America first on hiring, right? Today, he said, I have many H1B visas on my properties. I've been a believer in the H1B. I've used it many times. It's a great program. I've always liked the visas. That's his position today. So it seems like the party is split on it, or are they? Maybe it's just the fact that they want to make it tighter so there's no abuse, and there's some changes to simplify it. But however, before we get into that, let's just kind of learn a little bit about the H1B visa and how it works, okay? So when you think about H1B visa...
So let's actually watch this real quick, and then I'll
comment. The definition is a non-immigrant visa allowing U.S. employees to hire foreign workers in specialty occupations requiring advanced knowledge and a bachelor's degree or higher. This was created in 1990 under President Bush. Purpose was to address the skill shortages in critical industries, particularly STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And the key features of the H-1B visa, number one, eligibility, specialty occupations requiring specific educational qualifications. Two, it's 3 years, initially extendable to up to 6 years with green card exceptions. 3, capping quotas, annual cap of 85,000 visas with 20,000 reserved for U.S.'s master's degree holders. 4, application process, employer files the LCA, submits Form I-129, and worker applies through a U.S. embassy. 5, wage requirements, employers must pay H-1B holders the prevailing wages for their roles. And there's 4 levels. You'll notice your level 1 is the lower entry level. Experience is 0 to 2 years. You would get a salary at this level between $38,000 to $51,000 a year. 2, moderate 2 to 5 years of experience. In this area, experienced financial analyst, mid-level project coordinator is 51 to 65. Level 3, it's higher, 5 to 10 years of experience, 65 to 75. And level 4, 10 plus years, $78,000 to $90,000 a year. So
now I will say that I don't like the H-1B visas. I say we should make sure and vet these people are good workers. However, it should be transitioned into another visa where these actual people, whether they're from India, Philippines, certain parts of Asia, wherever they're from, they should be getting paid American wages and have the right to work either in America. All that stuff would be taken care of, visas, whatever, green card, whatever the hell they want to do, or work in their home country. I think that should be fair, especially if they're helping us out, making sure those businesses stay here since we are lacking talent. I think that's a win-win. And also, they should be behind driving back up. We got to change our culture in ways again. Back to the video.
Part of the argument here, which makes sense, is it's cheaper labor than hiring those positions in America. So, hey, I'd much rather hire these guys because, boom, they're cheaper than hiring an American. This part, an absolute correct argument that they need to match the salaries to be the same. So the employer only hires somebody from IIT because they think the IIT engineer is going to be better than the MIT engineer, even though I have to pay them the same amount of money, without a consulting firm taking 20% or half the salary, which that's a whole separate conversation we'll get into. Number 6, portability. Workers can switch employers if proper filings are made. And 7, dual intent allows holders to apply for permanent residency while on the visa. Now, a part of the argument here happens when somebody is coming in and you give them the H-1B visa.
So, as he said, a topic for another conversation. If you work at like KPMG, PwC, or some of these contracting firms like Inside Global, they're getting like $200 to $500 an hour while you're only getting $65 to $80 to $90, maybe even $100 if you're like GRC consultant. So I think that also needs to be revamped, especially for us U.S. workers, because that's a crock of shit. And then they crank up your insurance, health insurance, more than if you were actual internal and or FTE.
Visa, the company sometimes bullies the employees with the fear of, if you don't do this, we're going to do this to you, because they feel like they made that investment. You, the employer, has to pay $10,000 to $20,000 to have them become legal so they can work here. So there is some abuse that happens there. So that's how it works. Now, the argument for it and against it, this is what you'll hear. Economic contribution and innovation, talent shortages in critical industries, STEM, which I'll give you the data here in a minute, competitiveness on the global stage, economic multiplier effect, dual intent, and long-term contribution. And in arguments against it, wage suppression, displacement of U.S. workers, exploitation of outsourcing firms. This is real, by the way. This happens. And these guys, there's a lot of bullies here. Companies like Infosys and TCS that file bulk applications, reducing opportunities for smaller firms, abuse of...
I could see him for both, but if you don't have the skill set, if you don't have the talent, the second round of arguments are voided, right? If Americans are lacking the true skills, knowledge, talent, I mean, you can't argue that. So, but again, he's bringing both of them to the table to shed light on what both sides are, going back and forth over, which is what I like about him.
Third-party placement contracts have been well documented. You can look into this. It's all over the place. It's some of the lawsuits we talked about earlier. Lack of domestic workforce development and lottery system inefficiency. Instead of us choosing the best, it's you got to get lucky to come here, but maybe we didn't get the best one. Why not get the best one? Imagine if you're running a small business and you do 8 interviews. Imagine if the way of hiring one of them is a lottery system. Somebody draws it and one of the 8 gets hired. Instead of the best employee that you wanted was Mary, you get Bob. You wanted Mary, but it's a...
So that's what I was talking about, where we got to make sure we actually get, or not we, but the company gets who they actually want, and the person actually gets to go where the company they apply for. So that's where I mean, where there should be a different type of H1B visa system. I know there is, but there's no lottery system. It's a kind of a new, like, I'm going to go apply to Ripple. I'm going to go apply to Roblox or whatever in San Mateo, whatever, right? It's my choosing and their choosing, and it's a mutual agreement. It's not a lottery system, is pretty much what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of issues with that as well. Let's continue on.
Lottery system. Wouldn't you rather choose Mary over Bob? That would be the merit-based system. And last but not least, fraud and loopholes. This is the lawsuit we talked about earlier with Infosys, $34 million, Apple. Okay, so now Americans, we're typically known for being very competitive, right? We love to win. We love to be number one. America first, all that stuff. Let's look at some data. STEM. When you want to go into STEM, what's one of the most important subjects in school that typically India, Middle East, Asia is obsessed with, where America will rank 34th in? You know what it is? Math. Americans are no longer competing in math the way we did. Out of 80 countries on this OECD countries list, we placed 34th in math. That's horrible. We're 16th in science. That is terrible. By the way, then I look at the data to see what
and check out these facts. These are critical because this shows, not just in colleges, but also in elementary, middle schools, and high schools. This is going to show the decline of America, and it's been happening, like they said, since the 90s. That's when this thing really, really, really started to kickstart in. And it actually, the year I graduated, 2001, in high school, that's when it really, really, really took off. All the weirdo shit in schools. Let's continue.
Country like, Dad, what do I do when I grow up? You go become whatever you want to be, babe. Go be a school teacher. Go be a philosopher. Go be a psychologist. Study fine arts. You know what other parents say? You're going into STEM. Oh, why are you judging me? Because one day you're going to have a wife and kids, and life's going to be expensive, and you have to be competitive. Let me follow my passion. Okay, honey, go to fine arts. Joey, leave her alone and him alone. You go get your fine arts degree, sweetheart. Do whatever you want to do. I believe in you. You get your fine arts degree. Mom, did you know
one of the biggest issues with people in the United States, getting degrees just to get degrees and have this shiny piece of paper, put your foot on the desk and be comfortable and think you don't have to do a goddamn thing, and think everything is owed to you. 6-figure salaries automatically owed to you just because you got this nice, quote unquote, shiny piece of paper from a government entity, or that's doing work with the government, like a Cal Berkeley or UCLA or whatever. Majority of these degrees are just shiny pieces of paper that you could wipe your ass with. So let's continue.
Local museum only pays 32 grand a year. Those cheap bastards. How do you think, what do you think you do? Check this out with STEM. You ready? Percentage of total graduates in STEM fields. China, 41%. Russia, 37%. Germany, 36%. Iran, 33%. India, 30%. France, 26%. Mexico, 26%. You know where we are? 20%. China's 2xing us. Not only do they have a bigger population, then imagine they're also 2xing the focus on STEM. How do you compete with them in the future? So that's real data. Competition, let's talk raw competition. Next one here, you ready? Top countries by number of STEM graduates. China, 3.57 million. India, 2.55. US, 8.
Again, this is what I'm talking about. This is why, when people get on me about how I'm too hard on my kids, especially my son, he always cries and complains that he don't want to do coding, he don't want to do jujitsu, he don't want to do wrestling. I don't give a fuck what he don't want to do. He's not going to be sitting around watching stupid ass bullshit fucking YouTube TikToks, playing video games all day. His ass is doing that whether he likes it or not. Oh, well, he don't like it. I don't give a shit. He's going to fucking do it because when he's older, he's going to be able to handle himself. And so I tell people when my son's older, some of the stuff, yeah, he acts out of, I'm still disciplining him, but certain things are correctable. Whereas when he's 18, I could guarantee he's going to be making 150, 180K right off the bat. And he's going to be, have at least 1 or 2 certs under his belt, OSCP or whatever other cert he wants to go. That's my goal, is to get him outside of getting him out of the streets, bullshit, messing around, wasting time. So if there's nothing that they're doing, you should be pushing your kids to be something. And if they don't like it, that's tough shit. We need that old school parenting mentality back. Back to the video.
20. That's where we rank against India and China. India is 3x. China is nearly 4x. Well, let's continue. The salaries in America that pay the most, the jobs that pay the most. Electrical engineering, $122,000. Computer science, 108. Mechanical engineering, 106. Economics, 101. Engineering, 100. Finance, civil engineering, chemistry, mathematics, 86. That's what it pays. Now, parents, this is a very important chart for you, and some of you guys that are watching is younger. This is important to see. You know what this chart tells us? From 2021 to 2031, STEM occupations are projected to grow faster than others. By 2031, 10.8, others 4.9%, 2x. You think maybe it's important for us to realize if you want to have a good job long-term to be taken care of, maybe it's STEM.
And I'm going to end the video right there. And he's 100% right. It is STEM. The way we're going, all this futuristic advancements and technology, and not just technology, but the futuristic advancements that we're seeing, and also in the medical field, whether you believe in them or not, or you want to get the religious standpoint, because I guarantee you, God forbid if one of your kids had a brain injury and that would cure him, at least give him the 95% capacity plus to live a normal life, you would drop that religious shit and fucking give that to your kid, because I know I would. We need the STEM programs back in school. Now what PBD did is he brought all the data and facts from a schooling standpoint, education standpoint, all that stuff. But what he didn't bring in, and he's from California, he's from the LA, and I know he's seen this too. Me being from Northern California, they'll have the 2 different pockets, or 2 pockets with the 2 different colors. Is he don't talk about, a lot of kids in there want to do the gangbanging and or drugs. Everyone wants to be a bullshit fucking rapper. They want to live that street life. And, the single moms, again, single parents, shitty ass fathers. And it all comes back to the women, whether they want to hear it or not. Women get to choose outside of rape, which is a very, very minute variable on piece of shit men to have kids with. And then, then they're having a ton of these kids with 40 different dudes that aren't even there in the household. So that's another big issue, right? We have all these issues where we have to get the government out of the life like it was before, and bring back family and communities and revamp and abolish the EDU and restructure our system. And it needs to be restructured. It's not working. So for me, I 100% agree with the visas. I love my Asian and Indian homies, because those are the ones that I know that have them. I know there's other ones. I have a couple of Filipino friends as well that have those. But it is what it is. America's declining. Where else are you going to get the talents? Like Elon said, it's like building a team. You got to get the talent when none's locally. So unfortunately for America, you guys wanted the easy way out. Good times create weak men, and those weak men are in leadership positions, and it pretty much fucked us over. So that being said, I'm all for it. It does need to be reclassified because it'd be a win-win for both, meaning a company's not doing a lottery system, and the person getting the H1 or the visa not only gets to get competitive American wages, but chooses to live in America or in their country. And that's fine by me, in my opinion, right? We need the talent, we need the help. We're also going to be seeing a lot of companies leave where the talent's at. So I'm all for it. Again, for Asian, my Asian and Indian friends, keep pushing your kids hard. Make sure they have common sense and logic. Build great families and communities, and that goes for everybody. But apparently, that Americans don't want that anymore. They just want to cry racism, feel entitled, and cry, and then protest because they don't want to put in work because they didn't get something that they didn't deserve. So that's the video. Please go out and check Valuetainment PBD and check out his other videos and this one as well. That's it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you agree, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.